welcome back to the demonic and cancerous comic vault. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Today, Eric and I are going to talk about one of Eric's favorite characters. I don't know that we've reviewed a lot of Constantine stuff since the TV show. We did that. We did some of that together.
We did the first couple episodes together.
At least, if not a little bit more. And then you had to drop off, and I did it with Steve for a while. But here's John Constantine Hellblazer, all his engines, Mike Carey and Leonardo Manco. I don't know him from anything else.
No, remember? I was like, no, he's a name. And I looked it up. I was like, he's done Hellblazer. That is what I know him from.
Is he like a cover artist guy, or is he just done things you've never read?
No, I think he's like mostly done Hellblazer. Like there was a couple other things I was like, oh, he just...
Oh, but not just that, just other Hellblazer things.
Yeah, other Hellblazer. Like he did Hellblazer issues and yeah.
Cool.
Because I thought he was somebody different. I thought he was the person that did a bunch of the I thought he was Tim Bradstreet. He's not Tim Bradstreet.
So was this published in issues?
No.
Because it reads like it was.
You
think the way the chapters are broken up, it reads like... And I didn't count the pages, but it felt like I was reading 5 22-page issues.
I've always suspected that they took what was intended to be a 5-issue arc in the comics and just made it an original graphic novel. So I don't know what the modern printing of this looks like, but I got this back right when it came out.
In 05.
And so on the back it says the graphic novels that inspired Constantine starring Keanu Reeves. This was put out... It's interesting that this is what they adapted, because this was put out as the...
He's talking about for this new
movie. For the new animated film. This was kind of the thing they put out, and right at the top it's got a Neil Gaiman quote that says, Mike Carey's written the quintessential Constantine story. If you want to see what the fuss is all about, you should read this book.
Yeah.
This was put out essentially promotional... if you saw the movie, if you liked the movie, pick this up. And it's got a great thing in the back where it's a history of the comics with brief little interviews with different writers and things like that, and then a list of all of the trades that are in print and the order to read them and things like that.
Up to that point.
Yeah. So that's great. It's really, really great. I think as a release, this was a really good release to release for the movie. We should do more of these.
Yeah.
It does just feel like an arc of the comics. I guess it doesn't really build on anything that was going on immediately in Mike Carey's run, so maybe it was written to be a standalone graphic novel, but it doesn't feel like
So it kind of reads like an interlude thing.
Yeah.
And then the movie, of course, beefs it up and tries to make it like a really important event for Constantine.
Yeah, which it's not. It's just an adventure. I agree,
but it feels quintessential in the sense that the way he handles this problem is what he would do.
Yeah, I agree half-heartedly with quintessential, because I also think of quintessential as epitome, or
quintessential doesn't always mean definitive, though. It just means a really good encapsulation of the character.
Yeah, and I think that is what this is.
It is. But you're right. We use that. We either misuse that word or it has taken on a new meaning. When I say quintessential, I don't usually mean that. So I mean, dictionary definition. That's
I
fair.
think if you just saw the movie, the Keanu Reeves film, and you walked to a comic book store and you picked this up, I think this is a very good representation of what the comic's like, especially when you buy this because Mike Carey's writing the monthly book.
Yeah.
This is a very good representation of what Mike Carey's Hellblazer is like.
Yeah. I don't think it's the easiest thing to just pick up without any knowledge of the character at all.
Which is what you said reading it.
Yeah. Because I felt like I was bringing a lot of knowledge to it. I've not read a lot of Constantine. I've not read a lot of the comic book character. But I've seen the TV show, and I've talked to you about the character, and I've read a couple of things.
Didn't you read Justice League Dark for a while?
Yeah, but not a lot, and I didn't see him a lot in that book. I mean, he's there, but what I read of it, he's not a huge part of yet, or I don't remember. It's been 6 years since then. But what is the big Hellblazer arc that everybody knows? Dangerous Habits. Yeah, I think I've read that.
Have you?
I thought I did, or maybe I just talked to you about it and I don't even remember. But anyway, so I understand the core of this character. I understand what he's about. I understand the whole the guilt thing, and that he's always making the same mistakes and trying to fix past mistakes. And I get that he's all about paying for something. You don't get anything for free with magic and all of that. And I knew about his background with the little girl, Astra, and a little bit about Chaz and things. So I felt like some of that ought to have been here if this was somehow alluded to at least.
But do you think you would have been fine with all of that if you'd just seen the movie. If you'd seen the Keanu Reeves film and then went to this, you're like, okay, he's British, he's blonde.
Yeah, sure. It's an ignorance is bliss thing where all of that informs what he does in this is my problem. Where I wouldn't know that I needed it. But knowing what I know, I feel like I understood this better than I would have if I wasn't already familiar with some of the comic book stuff. So I just think that somehow some of that should have been worked into it.
Okay.
And I appreciate that the movie finds a way to do that.
Well, and maybe it would have... I'm not convinced this was written to be released as an original graphic novel. And maybe it would have been if it was written
It gives you a good sense of the flavor of it, but it's not necessarily a good starting place.
No, but it is completely standalone.
It is.
And true. So, like, I think this would be a good thing to read after you read the movie.
But do you think you would fully understand John's motivations without that background?
I mean, not fully understand, but, like, you get a sense of the man.
Yeah.
I don't need to know where he came from to know why he does what he does.
But I think that helps hook a person, because I think that's one of the most interesting things about him. With this character in particular, I don't know if I read that book and I keep going.
That's fair.
And I think that's part of it. Now, I don't think that is a brilliant story or anything. I think it's decent. I liked it.
Yeah.
I would say, and I don't even know if I'm saying the movie is necessarily better, but just as far
as a starting place. Just
as far as a first-time viewing thing, if I watched this, I might go looking for Constantine things. When reading this, I found myself thinking maybe I wouldn't do that.
That's fair.
But I am not saying that that the movie is necessarily better than the trade.
You're just saying it might be a better jumping-on point.
Yeah, because I would recommend this to anyone.
Yes. The thing that I'll say about this, as a good introduction for readers, is the thing that you don't get from the TV show, the movie, or the animated film is it's dirty.
It is.
And Hellblazer is dirty. If the perfect person to direct a Hellblazer film is David Fincher.
Okay, but this is dirtier than we've ever seen it on.
That's... Oh, yeah, but it's still like, I don't know, there's a sheen to it because it's animated. Like you can't... It's hard to make animation dirty, but like circa Fight Club, David Fincher is the perfect person to do Hellblazer. Like that's what I think of if you do. It's like it's physically, literally dirty.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's not a thing that I've seen in any of the adaptations. I mean, the movie is an okay representation of that. Like there's some real. I think of like the flies. With the like, there's some of that, but it's just, and especially with how Manco draws it, like it's just, I don't know. There's just, and a lot of Hellblazer art is like this, where it just feels sturdy, but and up until this animated film, I think, I don't know if you get from the TV show or the movie that like, it's kind of a detective thing.
Yeah.
Because the movie has
I think you get that from the TV show to some degree.
Okay.
Well, maybe that's not fair, though, because there is, in the TV show, there's like a big thing looming in the background that's a lot of why he gets involved in the first place. So he's not like just he's got ulterior motives. He's not just a detective going around solving crimes. But it does play like that kind of a thing. But no, you're right. You do get that from this. But then I say ulterior motives. He's only here because his friend.
That's almost always why he gets involved.
Yeah.
Is someone close to him is involved.
Sure. Okay. All right.
John doesn't go out to like stop evil.
Right.
John goes out because he has to.
Yeah.
For some reason.
He might start to care in the interim.
Or he gets roped into it. Like someone's like, "You owe me a favor. You have to go do this thing," and he's like, "Well, okay." I think there's a lot of quintessential elements of this character in this book that is in this.
Yeah.
Of Hellblazer that like you get that John's kind of a guy that like he'll help you, but like he doesn't really want to, and like the means of which he goes about it are not. He's not an altruist. He's not.
No. I mean, he's morally ambiguous, certainly.
Yeah. I've always understood him as like not a good person that wants to be.
Yeah.
And will never grow. He's up there with Batman as the consummate character that will not learn from his mistakes. He will never take his opportunities for change. He'll try, and he immediately falls back.
Yeah.
And that's what's fascinating. It's kind of like Daredevil. Like you, much like I've explained to people before. Like you read Daredevil to watch a man be torn apart.
Yeah.
Hellblazer's kind of like that too. You read Hellblazer to like watch a man ruin his life over and over and over again.
Yeah, or in that case, like Daredevil keeps going through like the same arc, the same problem over and over again. He like digs a grave constantly.
Yeah.
It's like he makes it worse and makes it worse.
So the general premise of this book is Chaz,
10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Here's what this book's about.
Chaz, who is John Constantine's best friend, his granddaughter is in a coma, and John kind of traces it back to this demon in L.A. So John and Chaz go to L.A. And there's this big demon who's kind of trying to create like hell franchises on Earth.
Yeah.
Which is a very Hellblazer idea. Very early on, there's a story where there's demons they're like yuppie demons, and there's like a soul economy where like they're betting against the economy or on the economy, like that kind of a thing of souls. I'm not sure it fully makes sense, but it's kind of fun. And then John just kind of like cons his way through it as best as he can. The demon kind of has leverage over him, and John just
and tries to force him to work for him.
Yeah, and John just tries to get out of it and tries to screw him over, and it works mostly.
Yeah, that's essentially that. Yeah, and that's always those stories too. It's like is like he gets away, he gets out of it, but not unscathed, and not like. And like it hurts him emotionally in some way.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing that's in this that's not in the film when we talk about the film later is Chaz comes with John to America and kind of hits it off with this American woman and they have an affair.
Yeah.
And I think all of that's done really maturely. Mm-hmm. Where he has an affair and he's like, well, my wife and I aren't like in love. We're just like we were, but like we're just together, and like we're just having to go of it at this point. Like we're just staying together now because we've been together for so long. We might as well stay together.
Yeah.
And that is maybe the one good thing that John does, where we're at the end where Chaz is like, I think I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna build a new life. Whatever. And John's like, no, you have to go back to England. You can't just start over. You have a family. You have a life. You have to go. You have to go deal with the consequences.
Yeah. Which I think would almost be more effective. This is impossible since I know that works in real time. Mm-hmm. That almost would have been more effective if it was his daughter and not his granddaughter. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we just saved your daughter. Mm-hmm. You have to go be with her now because it's his granddaughter. I don't think it works as well.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. But yeah. So
what do you do? I think the demon with a little pocket of hell in his house is really interesting.
Yeah.
And like perversely fun. Like it shouldn't be fun, and it's not, but it is. You know what I mean? Where it's just like this is messed up and gross and horrifying. And
the keeping the girl's soul in a cell.
Yeah.
And treating a cell as a literal cell.
It's inside him, and so it's in one of his cells, but it's also a cell because it's like jail because like, he traps her. Mm-hmm. That's all messed up. There's some real haunting stuff in that book. There's some real Dante's Inferno imagery. And I love all the stuff about like I said, the pockets of hell in his house. That big 2-page, I think it's a 2-page spread or a 1-page spread.
I think it is a 2-page spread. I know what you're talking
about. Where he opens the room and you see all these people in torment. Where it looks like you're looking at hell, but it's really just a room in his house.
Oh, it's not just a 2-page spread. I don't even think I can show this on channel. It's not just a 2-page spread. It's up. It's
sideways.
It's a centerfold.
Yeah. Right.
But I've never seen this before. It's a centerfold with a panel.
I don't know why we did that.
That's weird.
That looks like the kind of thing that Spawn would have done.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did that.
And I mean,
every time I read Constantine, it feels like decent Spawn.
Well,
like every time.
Spawn's kind of Warren Ellis described the Authority as his run on Stormwatch with all the clever bits taken out. And Spawn is kind of Hellblazer with all the clever bits taken out. Hellblazer and Ghost Rider mixed together with all the clever bits taken out.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. And I spent so much time reading that stuff, and I could have been reading this all along.
I don't know if you would have been ready for it before you went through all this.
I wouldn't. I can do it now.
This book was a fight when I was a teenager.
It was a fight.
It was a fight with my mother.
To letting you read it?
To let me read it.
Wow. Well, that's fair. Did she look at it first?
She did.
Wow.
She did look at it first.
Why did she let you read it?
I don't know.
Because I would have thought she'd tell you to take it back to the library.
I don't know why I end up
or however
being
you read
able
it.
to read it.
Did you read it at the library, or did you buy it?
No, I bought it. This is the copy.
So wait, so you purchased a copy, and then she's like, "I'm not gonna let you read that."
No, I think we looked through it at the store. She said no when I wore her down.
Wow.
At this point in my life, I was very interested in things like witchcraft.
Yeah.
And just not even necessarily practicing. Just it's a fascinating subject.
Yeah.
And I was drawn to things like that. That's also when I start reading Spawn and Ghost Rider and things like that. So yeah, no, it's
Oh, we were so naive.
yeah, no, it's really weird. Kind of going back to this because this isn't a book I've really gone back to. So like reading, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember reading this, and like this was kind of my first experience. This and Original Sins. I don't know which one I read first, but it's one of these two. I might even get them at the same time. But I remember a lot of it being like, oh, I didn't know comics were like this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gross, and very adult.
Yeah. And it is.
And also, I don't think I grasped it nearly as much as I did now. I was like, oh, there's a commentary going on here. There's a thing being done with the franchises, and it's like McDonald's, and
Yeah, of course.
I love the idea of a of like a hell wherever you go, like just like pop up hells, where it's like it's the same as all the other hells, like it's fast food hell. Like I love the idea of fast food.
Yeah,
hell.
no, that's what I liked about it too. Yeah, yeah, he's a stand-in for the corporate tycoon.
Yeah.
And the idea that like that's hell would be like that because the book is looking at that as pure evil.
Mm.
So if like that's one of the most evil kinds of things men do, of course hell looks like that, and like a modern contemporary hell. That's one of the things I liked about the movie, and I like about some of the material I've seen with this the update on hell. Like what does hell look like in the 20th century, in the 21st century?
Mm-hmm. Which I guess goes with the demon yuppies. Because Hellblazer is a very political book. What I always like about it is it's British politics though. Like so.
Yeah, so you're not familiar with it.
Yeah. A lot of it's kind of an outsider coming in or looking in. What's interesting about this is that it's not exactly British politics. It is more an American politic kind of a thing.
Well, that's true. Well, and of course we go to America. I mean, it's in LA,
and we do that a couple times. Brian Azzarello's run mostly takes place in America.
That's probably the other big reason that this was supposed to be a thing to pick up after using that movie, because it takes place in America.
Yep, and LA specifically.
Yeah, and because if you read a regular Hellblazer comic, it's not set there.
No. But yeah,
and of course the movie makes him an American.
It's weird because I think if you walk out of in 2005 or whatever, if you walk out of Constantine,
mm-hmm.
I think this is like a great thing to pick up. Like it's a real good introduction.
Well, you're probably right.
In 2018, I don't know.
Yeah.
In 2018, I tell you just pick up the like all of Hellblazer's collected up through past Mike Carey. Like we're almost done with collecting all of Hellblazer in trade, which has never been done before. It's a big deal. There's a whole run, like it lists all these trades. Between I think this trade and this trade, there's like a 50-issue run that's just not collected.
Oh, weird.
But yeah, I don't know if I would say like if you're interested in this character, pick this book up now. You can just start at the beginning. You just work through it. So that's a little bit dated comics.
Do you think people, and it's hard to say because we've read it, but do you think people would appreciate the movie they just made more if they read this, or does it stand better if you've not read the material? I can kind of see it going either way.
I think it would make you appreciate the movie more in that.
Well, I'm thinking of one thing in particular, which we'll talk about later.
It's a true.
There's one thing I feel like is done just for people that have read the book, and I don't understand that.
Yeah. It's. I think I don't think it makes well. I don't think you have to read the book to enjoy the movie, but I think you might enjoy the movie more if you've read the book, if that makes sense.
Partly just because it's kind of a solid adaptation, we haven't gotten a lot of those.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I don't think you need the material for the movie, but if you're familiar with the material, you might be happily surprised.
You might even appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a little bit more pizzazzy, but it's more or less this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not this is not the definitive Hellblazer story. I don't think calling it quintessential is wrong.
I don't think it's wrong. No.
I think it's a good introduction, especially if you're a little bit familiar. If you've read whatever DC's putting out now, John Constantine Hellblazer, whatever, this might be a good thing to look at and just be like, what were the old ones like? It is a good self-contained piece.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Well, and it's nice that for the time they made a thing that is also wholly skippable by by fans of that material. Mm-hmm. Like that's not in the regular run, and you don't have to have it.
Yeah. And I don't think
I'm sure it never comes up again.
I don't think we call back to it with the Chad stuff, but I could be wrong. There could be a point where him and John are arguing. He's like, well, I never told your wife that you stepped out on her or whatever.
Yeah.
That might come up, but I don't think so.
What do you think of the other big demon that's in that?
I like him. Well, he's not a demon, he's a god.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And we cannot pronounce his name, and they try in the movie, and it's hilarious.
I love it.
It feels so awkward coming out of his mouth.
It does.
It's Native American god of death. I really like that. I always like it when we play with the other mythologies. We don't just do heaven and hell. We do all of it.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that it's the old versus new. It's the American gods thing of this demon has shown up. Representing corporations, right? And like he's gonna make the franchise hell, and the thing that stops him is a Native American demon. It is literally like the roots of the ground.
That's a good point. It's old America versus new America.
Yeah. I like that.
I didn't even put that together until you brought it up. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
So of course.
No, I think it's very smart. I like Mike Carey a lot. I like his run a lot. He also has a wonderful X-Men run that everyone should go read. And I have the first 2 trades of The Unwritten, which was his big creator-run series for a while. I don't know if it's still going, but I need to read that.
Yeah, and you told me he's written the X-Men series that I need to read.
Yes, Legacy.
Professor X.
Yeah, it's all about Professor X and the sins of Professor X, and more. It's morally ambiguous.
I like morally ambiguous Professor X.
Yeah. It's also what gives us Lady Sinister. That is Mike Carey.
Cool.
But yeah, so I would recommend this. It's a weird thing to...
I enjoyed it, but I had this weird thing where, as I was reading it, I kept thinking, like, I know there's better material than this.
Yes.
Like,
and better material by this author.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird thing to think while you're reading a thing, but, like, it's solid.
Yeah. It's good. It's fine. It's not gonna set your world on fire. I think it's a good sample set.
Yeah. And relatively simple.
Yes. I mean, the story itself is kind of complex, but, like, not... in that detective story kind of
like
way.
it while you're reading it, and then when you get to the end, it's really easy to break it down.
Yeah. Much like a detective story. But yeah, no, I recommend it. Like, obviously, like it's a good book.
Yeah.
And I think it works better in the time and place it was released for John. Like, that's the thing is, I really think it is a really good introduction if you just walked out of the Keanu Reeves movie. Mm-hmm. At this point, when all of Hellblazer is in trade, and this is collected in those trades, cool. The reprints. So, like, you'll just get to the point in that run or in those books where this is collected.
I think it is probably an interesting thing for people to read if they just watch the TV show, because there's the fans of that show that never looked at the book.
Yeah.
And see just how close they got.
Yeah. And I also think it could be fun to read after you've seen the movie.
Sure. I do think you could do that in any order.
Yeah.
There would be surprises both ways, because that movie in some ways is a direct adaptation to that, but it has a very different ending and it replaces some characters with other characters. Mm-hmm. So I think going either direction, you go, oh, this was that person in the movie, or this was that person in the book, and I think it works fine both ways.
And what's interesting is that one is a little bit more tied to the DC universe, just a tad.
It is.
Whereas by this point, Vertigo is a completely separate thing.
Right.
Because when you start, it's
But I thought that movie was going to go to the nines with that.
Yeah.
I
thought there's just the one character from Justice League
would be there, and it was just Nightmare Nurse.
Nightmare Nurse. Yeah. Who I looked up and starts in some weird book like right pre New 52.
Oh, interesting.
And I think it's created by DeMatteis. I think that's what I read. Because I looked her up. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I recommend this. It's not like a super strong recommendation.
Yeah,
like,
same here.
Like, we read this because the movie was based on it.
I will say, I don't know that I would... it's not, like, a little bit forgettable if I didn't see that movie. Like, now it's going to be burned in my mind, because I saw an adaptation. Mm-hmm. But I'd have to go back to it. Oh, yeah, that's what happened in this. Like,
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Light recommend.
So, a little bit later in the program, Eric and I are going to review City of Demons, which is based on that, as we keep talking about, and we're going to do that on how we felt about it.
It ends up not being nearly as generic a title as it seems, because they're in LA. It's the City of Angels, City of Demons.
It's just, that's not the... I mean, I've seen that done before. I forget in what, but I've definitely seen that done before.
Angel somewhere, right?
Probably so. But yes, it's not a super generic title, and... like, to be fair, like, all his engines is a reference to
it's either Paradise
Milton?
Lost or
yeah, it's Paradise. No, it's Paradise Lost.
It's Paradise Lost.
Well, there's a quote from it right at the beginning.
Yes. I just didn't remember which one it was.
Yeah, and I get why an animated movie that's sitting in Walmart or Target is not going to have that subtitle. Like, I get that.
Well, and like...
And wouldn't it seem kind of pretentious if you did? Like you open that movie up and you do that quote, and like, that might have seemed a little bit pretentious.
Well,
I get why they changed that title.
And also regular, like Joe that's going to pick that up is going to be like, there's no engine in this movie.
Yeah, and what does that mean? You know? So I'm not saying that...
It's all his engines. There's no engines in this whole movie. It's the cars, engines.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I like, dumbing things down for the masses, or...
That's a fine title.
Yeah, but they didn't replace it with something like completely generic.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it. Eric and I are going to move on now to a second vault. We're going to tackle the 4th volume of Ultimate Spider-Man. So stick around with us if you are so inclined. And then right after that, we're going to do how we felt about on Constantine City of Demons and several other things. So stick with us, won't you? And if you just tuned in for this video, we sure appreciate you doing that as well. We will see you again very shortly. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
Thanks for watching.